Hi guys, welcome to another TGS podcast, and we have the Chipmans here.
Hello.
Mostly we're going to speak to Ron about how he won the TSC. What is the TSC?
Well, TSC is known as the School Challenge, and it's for 12 to 21 year olds, and it's a series throughout the year at the Oxford Gun Company where they have multiple events, and your highest score, I think it's top 25, top 15, it's around about those numbers, get invited to a grand final where you shoot for a car. And that goes on throughout the year. They have many prizes on. It's aimed for the youngsters to try and promote the sport, get more people into the sport. And quite frankly, I think it's a brilliant idea into doing that.
Of course you did. You want a car?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. So obviously it's helping me out. I just turned 17, started driving lessons. So the timing.
You won that in December, didn't you?
December the 7th. The final was, and that's on the internet as well.
Yeah, it's on TSC's channel.
It's on their channel. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Throughout the year, I thought I had a good chance of winning because we first.
Well, if you don't think that, you're never going to win, mate.
We first went down in the April. We missed. They have a big.
So when did you start shooting? Let's start right from the beginning.
Right, we'll start from the beginning then.
Because your old man shot.
Yeah, my dad shot for years and then he stopped. Just because.
So, who's better?
Me.
I'm a one-shot wonder.
Yeah.
You want the partridge on the floor like back when you were a kid.
Yeah. But I was taught, if it's hot pot, get it when it stood still.
Can't eat clays, mate.
So my dad was shooting up at a friend's farm, and then he obviously just started shooting more rather than working what he was meant to be doing. From what I heard every day, he'd come back saying, I've just shot this many pigeons or whatever they've been shooting on the land. And then it came, I think it was my 16th birthday, I got pulled out of school. My dad said, let's go, you've got a shooting lesson with Lee Campion and someone nearby. And I was like, right, let's go have a go at this. And his mate brought down a 20 bore.
You guys are from Yorkshire?
Yorkshire, yeah. So, and I started doing that with 50 birds, first lesson, and then...
How'd you get on?
Basically everything. But obviously there were learner targets, so...
And now you look back and you go, yeah, I'm glad I hit everything.
Yeah. And then we just put more lessons from there, and then that kind of...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't proper shooting as such. It was like shooting 50 clays every week, or then there'd be a break, and then be every 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't proper shooting, but it was enough to get me into it. And
that was back a year and a bit ago.
Yeah. That was just about the start of it, and then applied for my license, and then that came through March.
And you were just borrowing a gun up until this point?
Lee's got guns there, so we're just using that. And then my license came through, and then we basically got a semi-automatic because my dad was going goose shooting with his friends, and then I was meant to go on that one as well. The first time before I went second time with them, and then there was a first one, but I broke my foot playing football.
That'll be last January, I take it.
Yes. Yeah. And then I broke my foot, I couldn't go on it, and then we booked another one, and then I went, and then he took the semi-automatic, which was a Benelli Colombo, which is my first gun.
Yeah, good guns.
They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Which one did you go for? The long barrel or the short barrel with
the spreader? It's the 28.
Choke?
The 28.
The one with the tight big choke.
Yeah, the tight
choke, yeah.
50, it's long shot choke, it's called.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, and then...
The other one's the wide shot choke.
Yeah.
It comes with the short barrel one.
Yeah. So I got that, and then he took that goose shooting, and then I heard that he would just killing everyone's birds with it. So, and then eventually I went goose shooting, and then I was just killing everything with it. But that was my first gun, which was a semi-automatic. Which, to be fair, I think for learners starting on a semi-automatic is brilliant because less recoil, especially if it's a gas-operated one.
Less weight as well.
Yeah, the weight. Bit tricky to get your head around the loading, but it's not on an inertia. It's just one extra button compared to a gas. And then I still going at Lee's, not shooting the semi-automatic because it was being stored it was on a friend's license, and then eventually got gifted onto mine. And then I was shooting a Winchester 101 when I went there.
Yeah.
And then
Smart bits of kit.
And then one time he brought out a Beretta Silver Pigeon 686, and the difference between that and a 101 were worlds apart. I shot a lot better with a Silver Pigeon, whatever. The 101 didn't really fit me that well, and obviously the Beretta have got many years, so standard dimensions fit a lot better. And then eventually got the friend with us, and we went down to a different clay ground, Pinewood Shooting Ground, Brighton, which we now own, surprisingly, which going back to last year, we would have never thought would be in this position, but stars have aligned, you could say.
Yeah.
And we've managed to obtain it. So
Become fully addicted over the last year.
Yeah, fully addicted. But it's good because with my problems from birth, like I used to do enduro riding before that, and I was riding the motorbike, and then it would just put pain in my back, in my legs, and it'd be days off school just recovering from it. And then eventually we traded in all the enduro stuff, so I paid for the bike, and then I managed to pay for the shooting from that,
Mm-hmm.
and then start up myself really, because my dad's a big motorbike rider, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't continue riding bikes. It wasn't at like a high, it wasn't like a competitive level or a high level. It was just going around riding
Just for a bit of fun,
Yeah,
which is what it's all about, isn't
yeah,
it?
so and then
Are you quite a competitive guy, or are becoming so?
Yeah, I've always been quite competitive. I like beating people. To be fair, it's a good thing knowing that you're better than. It's a weird thing. It sounds like but you get enjoyment out of being good at something, and it's something to strive to be better at. You know, because it opens a lot of opportunities.
I know some people who probably won't think this way, but you don't go out and miss them.
No, you don't.
Be kind of depressing. If you did.
I mean, I've heard it a lot of times, especially like people saying now, "Oh, let's go see how many I missed today." What's the point? If you say that, you've got to go in wanting to learn the experience. It becomes more fun,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I've started. That's what I've always been like, and there's no point if you're one of the people like, "Let's go and see how many we missed today." You may as well just burn your money, because if you're doing that,
if it brings them joy, mate.
yeah, if it brings them joy.
If it brings you joy.
I'm a firm believer in. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't shoot competition because I'll never win it," but it's not about that. Go shoot the competition for the enjoyment of it, because you can do it. It's good targets. You get to know more people through doing that. And look, from shooting competition, I've met great groups of people that I shoot with regularly, like Tim Wade and everyone I shoot with now. Chris Bullock is all from competition and practicing for that, and it brings a good level, and you can see your improvements when you do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm a big believer of. But the people that say, "Oh, I don't shoot competition because of this," and a lot of these people aren't bad shots. They're saying it, and you've got and it helps the sport grow, and obviously.
Oh yeah, there's two sides to it, isn't there? And I don't think the sport would be as good if people all thought the competition was great, because you need the straw bailey, the fun, the muck around.
You still need the
I'm just
club.
going to go out and shoot 50%, and it's fine because I'm doing it more or less to get out of the house and have a pint afterwards. There's value in both sides of that.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Though I'm with you, I like going to competition events, and I like shooting as best as I can. I like hanging around people as good as can be, because it's a good environment to improve yourself.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is not. I don't know. It's hard to explain it, but I don't know.
You'd like it to be a more serious sport than it.
Not serious. I don't want it to be serious, because I've been shooting Olympic trap, and it's way too serious. There's no talking. There's nothing. You go sport, and everyone's having the crack. That's what I want it to be more of. But then again, if you have the mentality of, let's see how many I can miss today, you might take the enjoyment out of it. And I think that's what I'm trying to say is, go out, see how many you can do, and then have the crack if you miss, and not get disheartened about missing, which I think needs to happen.
Definitely. So how did the TSC come about? You've been out, you shot some geese, you've had some lessons, you got an auto.
Yeah.
At what point did you start thinking, I actually want to go and compete?
Well, it was always something I wanted to do. Lee originally told me there was you need to get a membership, and we went with Basque originally, just for the insurance. And then
went CPSA shortly after, or
because to be honest with you, Basque, they do great stuff for the sport, but it's not.
You can say what you want, mate.
It's not it's not. I don't think it's the right stuff. That there's a young shots day for like a geese shooting day, and I'd already been geese shooting, but I thought, I might learn something new here. So we wrote an email to them, and then we got a reply 2 weeks after the event saying all the places were booked up and the event's over now. And it's things like that. We've heard other things about bass.
They're a very large animal.
Yeah.
With a lot of very large moustaches.
Yeah.
That perhaps are stuck in their ways.
Yeah. So anyway, I went to CPSA, and then I'd been shooting for 2.5, 3 months with my auto. Probably put, I don't know, because we were only buying boxes at a time, not slabs. Yeah. Maybe put, I don't know, 1,000 rounds through.
It's all right over that period of time. That's not bad, mate.
And then we went to. My dad originally put a deposit down for a Franchi over and under. Oh, which one is it called?
Infinity. No, Infinity's the auto, isn't it?
That's the auto.
It's named after a bird.
It's not the Kingfisher one, is it? It's got a name that's like
Alcione.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, I had gone with Kev.
Yeah, he'd gone with Kev.
It was Christmas, and we'd called at the pub first. Well, I'd called at the pub and he'd picked us up. So I did go and buy the gun, and I thought, oh, that's a nice little gun. That'll suit Ron.
A step down from a Colombo.
It was.
Yeah. We did realise when we went to pick it up, because we just never got a chance to pick it up. When we
they're
went
not a bad gun, obviously.
Yeah,
no, they're not the same.
They're not clay gun
mechanically or engineering wise as Colombo.
When I went back and he got the gun out, and he opened the case and put it together, and I went, I've never bought that, have I? And he went, yeah, you did. I went, oh, I thought it was better than that. But I had been to the pub. He'd picked me up from the pub.
But they're what, 750, 800 quid?
Yeah.
They're not an expensive gun.
No.
And then I thought to myself, I picked it up, I thought, this is not good enough, really, for...
Not to win.
Not to win. So I just said, Paul Taylor at Kexby Field Sports said, Paul, have you got a gun what'll suit our on? And he just said, I told you what gun. He came out with a 686E.
Yeah, good guns.
And
brilliant.
We swapped that, purchased it, and then he went out busting clays with that.
It's twice the price of but yeah.
And we've still got it.
Yeah. Before that, we bought the 828U as well, because we thought, I've not...
It's lightweight.
Yeah. Which I think, to be fair, as a learning gun, I think the opening and closing the gun's brilliant. Yeah. Getting people into it. But we've said this all the time, is they should have brought the Sport out first, really.
Or I feel at a similar time.
Yeah.
And the Sport is almost an inhibitive price point as well.
Yeah, it's way too much money. I've never seen one out on the circuit.
No. I've seen a couple about, but they are rare as hell.
Yeah, I've only seen them in the gun shops, and no one's ever picked them up, and the prices just kept going down.
Imagine if you were buying a gun for what, nearly $3,000?
I think they were when they first came out, the retail 3,595.
Yeah, imagine what you could buy for that.
Oh, 692 XS Pro,
725 Pro Sport,
exactly.
Green Invictus, Ascent. They're good guns.
And coming into the market with that gun, I don't think was the best idea for GMK or whoever.
Well, the world's a diverse place, isn't it? And I think it's a field gun. It's designed as a walk around shooting gun. But, yeah,
we used it for that bit of field work, and it
performs.
It performed, and it was quite gentle to be fair. It was a good gun.
They're
good
nice
to walk.
I did start shooting that
when they were.
But for me, the recoil, I felt the recoil in the grip a lot.
Yeah.
And I've heard
just hitting it into back of your hand.
Yeah. And so I just stopped shooting and went back onto the Colombo, but I only shot it a handful of times before we went geese shooting, and that was that. And then I went on the Colombo. And anyway, so we got this 686.
Yeah.
And then my uncle, during this time before that, had applied for his licence, and then he came out shooting with us. So he got the 828U. The Colombo was in the cabinet, and I was on the Beretta 686. Because my dad doesn't shoot a lot. The reason for that is if I shot and he shot the same volume or whatever, double the price. Therefore...
So, we'll take a quick step aside. As the dad, at this point you weren't driving, you were driving him around. Do you work? Were you funding some of it yourself? Or was it...
A lot of it was funded from the sale of the Enduro bikes and the gear with that.
And you worked for your mum?
And I worked for my mum. At the dental, when she had the dental practice on reception, I was working there. And then I've got to say a massive thank you to my uncle, because when we went out shooting, he couldn't just do a 50 or 100 birder. It was a slab of cartridges, maxing out the card. I remember we were at Park Lodge once and we maxed out a 500 card that day.
And good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we were only there an hour and a half. We maxed it out. We just went 2 slabs of cartridges done. When we go shoot with my uncle, you have to do. He gets that addicted to it, and then he looks back on the money he spent on the weekend, and then
bugger.
It's like stops for 4 weeks, a month.
I know there's got quite a few people like that will go out once a month and fill their boots and then go, I can't afford to do it again for a bit.
Yeah.
But my real question is how much effort for you as dad was it to get him to the level he is?
Once we'd got him on the over and under, realistically, he'd started I'd got him shooting to a level best of my abilities. Then we'd just gone on the hard compact, which is the infamous barn end.
Yeah.
And a guy called Chris Bullock, good friends with Dave Carey, came up and just said to me, has your lad hit anything yet? And I don't know. He went, oh, poor lad. I went up to him, whispered in his ear. 5 birds after that, he were cracking on the hardest stand you'll ever shoot. And he just gave him the pointers, told him what we wanted to enter this competition with this car. Told him, he says, right, get in the over and under, which we did. And practiced a little bit, not a lot. And went down to the Oxford Gun Company for the first time.
So you'd seen that online and fancy crack, take it?
That was it.
So I'd rush home from work, pick him up from school, and we could manage to get 50 birds in at a local playground.
That's all right.
Yeah, in a mad rush. So
there's a bit of dedication involved.
Yes.
But it wasn't I presume. As a shooting man, you kind of, I presume, enjoy.
Yeah. And I enjoy him watching.
Yeah.
To be fair, I enjoy people. I enjoy watching people shoot, which a lot of people do, which I found out. So then when we said we'd go to the Oxford Gun Company, he booked it all in and paid for it. We went down and you did really well, didn't you? Really well.
So, yeah.
The running around side of things, the driving around's not been too bad because we're quite lucky. We're 15 minutes from Park Lodge.
Yeah.
And we was 25 to half an hour from Blighton, which is Pinewood, which we own now. So we were quite lucky that way. But you'd only get the 50 in. It were always a rush, if that makes sense. Once we'd got him down to the Oxford Gun Company, I realised he had some talent somewhere along the line. Chris Bullock, he noticed it early on that he'd got talent. A natural talent. He's had to work where he's got now.
Glad to hear it, mate. I'd be angry otherwise.
Yeah.
He's naturally that good.
Yeah, and you do watch it. You know, I watched the top shots drop birds, and that's what I like about clays, to be fair, because it gives everybody a chance. And when we got to the Oxford Gun Company, I thought this is a good place to come for a youngster. 100% good place for a youngster, and realised how Dave Florent had set things out. When I first saw the targets, I come out of the once I'd watched the first stand, I said, Ron, I says, you'll be a straight 50 today, no problem. But that wasn't true.
They're very technical. Technical
targets, and when you're doing it in the pairs, what he's doing it in 5 pairs every time, it just gets harder. First pair's easy, second pair, and then obviously the pressure sets in. And that's when they drop the birds. Found out that a lot of the young guys what go there, especially the girls, are all pretty good shots.
Surprised me how many good shot girls he has there.
Yes, 100%. They've got some.
Within clay shooting, though, there's no reason why girls are worse than boys. To be fair,
it really surprises me no end that it's a segregated sport.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I'll get myself in trouble if I talk about it too much. So
well, it's a hand-eye coordination at the end of the day, and that's
there's no strength ability necessarily, nothing like that.
I would say the girls I've seen shoot at the Oxford Gun Company, realistically, if they were shooting in the same squad as the boys, sometimes on that day, or I should say most of the time, the girls no problem, match and beat them no problem. Yeah. The scores are there at Oxford Gun Company. The girls are good.
Do you think that will be something that happens in the future, that it gets bound together, that boys and girls can actually compete on a level Olympically as well?
I think there's a few major events, especially in the Olympic disciplines, not the Olympics itself, where it is male and female shooters as a team, and it's a score based. I've heard that a few. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I have heard it before. I've seen it in the magazines. But I think there's no reason why. I think it is in a sense because a lot of competitions have the high gun prize, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's obviously that's split into your AAA, AA, A, B, C, and then there's also ladies. But if a lady shot a 199, let's say it's Essex Masters, a lady shot 199 out of 200, they'll take the high gun, ladies, and then whatever class I was in. So I don't think it's segregated as such as it seems.
Mm-hmm.
I think they still can, but I think it's still there in a certain way.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why the worst shots, because it's just hand-eye coordination, which comes down to...
Which everybody... Well, some people have in spades and others don't. But
well,
everyone's got their level.
From what I've seen, the girls have, if not a better ability. We had a group came in, have a go, last week.
Yeah.
2 young pharmacists. And it was a guy from Australia. I'm not sure if he was a doctor but there were young guys who were visiting, and they weren't going to take up clay shooting. Just wanted to have a go with a shotgun and hold a gun, and so they booked to have a go. I went out with Chris Bullock. Chris Bullock took them out and to get them hitting targets. The girls straight away on that 20 gauge, they were straight on the ball. They listened to him straight away. They were on it. They were hitting 5 out of 5, and the traps what we've got at the moment are all wound up full, so even they're not really learning target. We can't slow the traps down what we've got for the Avogo. So we were a bit worried about that, but the girls were just straight on it. And the guy of the group struggled. So he were on the better gun, and he struggled, and he were listening, but he just couldn't get that eye coordination. You could see I were only butting in, obviously I weren't teaching him how to shoot. But Chris got him hitting targets after 50, but they were hitting targets straight off the bat, straight out the trap. So that just goes to show that I think it's true. We had a couple more. Steve Bullis fetched his friends down, so we let him go around the back. Ron shoots with him. He shoots little competitions.
I shot Austin Masters with him. He was on my squad. It's a good laugh when you shoot with Steve Bullis and his mates.
Yeah,
they're always having the crack. Yeah.
His wife shoots. She's a pretty good shot. She's a good shot. And they fetch some friends down, and they don't shoot. They just shoot when they
have a muck about.
Yeah, have a muck about. And I watched them for a while, and the lady who they fetched, same again, hitting the target straight away. So I think there's something in that. I don't know.
I think we're coming from a bit of a history of being a very male-dominated sport. It wouldn't surprise me in the next dozen years that they would get converged. Because at the minute, I think the pool of ladies who shoot is tiny by comparison. I mean, you go to clay shoots probably a lot more often than I do now. How many women do you see percentage-wise? A couple of percent?
Yeah.
It's mostly blokes.
We're trying to encourage. In the months to come, we're going to encourage the younger shots and. It's like Dave Hildreth's daughter, who you know quite well. There's quite a few girl shooters which he knows, and we want them down at the club, and we're going to put something on, even if we have to make something for them as a girl group, because I think that they haven't got the opportunity like the men have got. If that makes sense.
No, this is it. I mean, most people are guilty of it. You invite your bloke mates out, don't you? Shooting.
Yeah.
You regularly invite your missus and her friends, or your I don't know if we're allowed or not allowed female friends. No, it's not really cut that bit out. But yeah, I'd love the future will be right. Anyway, back to
the TSC.
The story. You went for the first time down there. How'd you get on the first round?
First round was a 46 out of 50, which was I don't know if it was the top score at the time. Because it was the April one, which goes on from the 1st of April to the 3rd. It was either first or second, and that was for a Bowman trap. And then I went down, I shot it. It was over 2 days that I shot it, because we stayed down with my uncle.
So when you go down, you're allowed to do a practice round first, or is it just straight out?
Re-entry. It's re-entry, so...
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
It is, and it's a bit annoying, because when you went out and shot the highest score the first time, and then someone's shot 3 other rounds and then beating it after that.
So you're saying is the local person who shoots it every day could win it?
Well, yeah.
Do you feel like it's he who has most money wins, or...?
No.
No?
Because it's the pressure that applies to that, I mean, the school's challenge where all the private schools get invited down to shoot.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest ones, and was it October the 2nd on a Wednesday that was, and I shot a 48 out of 50 on that, which beat everyone's score, and that was no re-entry. You shot that and your first score, that was it. You couldn't shoot it again. So there were a few times when I'd set the highest score, and then someone would go out who were on my squad the next round and then go beat it for whatever reasons, and then you're just trying to catch up after that because it's re-entry. But at the end of the day, I
suppose it's one of those things. It's all about getting to the final, isn't it? So as long as you're in the top 15, it only really matters when it comes down to the end of it. Which for you obviously went all right.
Yeah.
So you were going out monthly to shoot a monthly TSC thing, or is it every 6 weeks?
It was April, and then there was a gap. I think it was in April, and then there were a big month gap, like 3 months. I think the next event might have been August or July after April. And then there was the Game Fair one, and then in the winter, that's when all the events start. The Winter Series is on, which is 5 events, all re-entry.
Oh wow!
And then that is.
And you have to shoot every single one to
no,
be with
it's
a chance? Just a random stuff.
There's 9 events. There might be more this year. I'm not 100% sure. No, I think there's 9 events. Yeah, and 6 of your highest scores get taken.
Okay.
So essentially, if you shoot all the Winter Series, if you shoot the one before the Winter Series and that, that's when you have to qualify. So you don't have to shoot every event. But the Winter Series is a series within the car series, where all your scores get added to the car, and also to the Winter Series, which is for a Yieldits shotgun, which isn't too bad. So that was, I think I came 3rd overall in the Winter Series, which was all right. Then again,
who won that?
It was Toby Hammond who won that, and then Reese Plum was 2nd.
They came 2nd and 3rd overall, didn't they? Or?
Toby didn't make it to the top 5 in the final, which was surprising to a lot of people, but
just a bad day.
Just how it was. And I know he had made it to the final before in other years, so he was a seasoned veteran at the TSC. And then Reese came 2nd in the after shoot off in the top 5 for 2nd place. So yeah, the Winter Series was good, but I think a lot of people shooting that a lot of times to build this, because that was the time to build your scores to ensure you got in that
top 15.
Into that top 15, yeah.
We felt it important to shoot, but we only missed one, didn't we? Because we
missed one at the start of the year, yeah.
And we felt it important to shoot everyone. And after the first time we've been down to the Oxford Company, we thought it was basically to support the TSC challenge. We thought it was important to do everyone, to be fair.
Good crack as well, good social. You make some friends out of it, or is it very straight down the line?
I stayed away. I talked to the person I talked to the most was Charlie Madden, who was the last year's winner, and because I didn't go in the clubhouse. We got a camper van, and I just stayed in there to stay away from, because everyone was talking about how they'd done, and you start talking, it gets in your head, and
easier just to walk onto the course.
Yeah,
smash it.
When I went down, I was there to do a job. Basically, I wasn't there to talk to people, but the person I did talk to was Charlie Madden, who was last year's winner, and tried to learn what I could from him. He had some useful stuff, and then his little brother, I talked to him a little bit. I did talk to everyone. I'm not saying I was like a social recluse there all the time, but I wanted to stay away from them as much as I can, because
ain't gonna help.
They couldn't tell me anything that I could learn from them.
After the event, the clubhouse, it's a good atmosphere in the clubhouse. We always stayed
to the end.
The end. We never.
Even if I didn't get on the podium, it was always just stay to the end.
Yeah.
Good sportsmanship and support the event.
And after the event's over, you can have a chat with people.
Yeah.
And then you can start learning a few things, depending on how you did, right?
And they put a good. The Florence put a really good show on. They are dedicated to it, and
I picked that one. He's 100% obsessed with getting kids involved.
Yes, and I tip my hat to him, because realistically, we've looked well, if you look on internet, there's nothing for. There's only the Oxford Gun Company. This moment in time, what's like that.
And they're trying to change it, which is fantastic, to make it a more accessible sport for everybody.
That's right, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think Dave Carey is supporting our Ron. He's supporting him really well, because he wants to see the young shots. I mean, he says it in his films, and it's just where do you start with the young shots? Where do you actually start to get them? And I think the Florence are way in front of everybody. Even they
may not have all the answers, but at least they're doing something which is miles ahead of a lot of other people.
And we're trying to use that as a benchmark. I talked to David at the show, and Charlotte and Doug, and said, look, we're going to get involved somewhere for the young shots, even if we get them the young shots at our club, and then we then say, right, we're all going down to Oxford,
bang a minibus, drag you all down,
get them down there, get them involved in the TSC, and maybe it could be the Oxford Gun Company against the Pinewood Shooting Ground youngsters. That would be a good.
Think you're likely to win?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. We have to shoot to eat where we come from, so
it's hard life up north, isn't
it? But no, I think it'd be a good thing, and they've offered to help as well, which is
great.
Anything you need about the ground and everything else, they've been great. We only spoke to them a couple of times about it. So at the show we had a good chat, but we're going to go up. We was going to go from here on the way back down, but it was too late. Because Ron don't get out of bed very well.
I was up at 6 o'clock.
If any youngster wants to beat our Ron, just book him in. Just book on same squad for 9 o'clock. So we're going to use the TSC as a benchmark for Pinewood Shooting Ground.
There's an issue with extending that over 2 grounds if they'd allow you to use
they have said they wanted to try and do something up north, because obviously for us it was a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, which is prohibitive. It's a barrier.
Yeah, if we could get the youngsters, which we've got youngsters what want to come and shoot at Pinewood, so if we can get those at our club, we can do it all by email, fill the entry forms in, so on and so forth, and we can then chaperone them once we've got to the Oxford Gun Company, and then once we're at the Oxford Gun Company, then their team could take over, they can shoot the event, and we could probably make it more of a social thing as well. And because I would imagine some youngsters won't be able to go because the parents won't be able to take them.
It's a long way to drive, a weekend away. If you've got multiple kids, that's again another thing. It's a commitment. It's a big commitment.
Yeah, and we might be able to help with that by saying,
which is important.
We can get you down there, chaperone,
to allow people out there.
And I think that might be the way forward. We won't hold the TSC challenge, obviously, but we can support it.
You could hold a northern one.
Yeah, we could. Yeah,
just getting someone up north to sponsor a big prize for it, really.
Yeah, that's
not an easy thing, mate. Unfortunately, the gun trade does its own worst anyway when it comes to that sometimes, that it doesn't like reinvesting.
The prizes, what they put on at the Oxford Gun Company are all brilliant. There's always a decent skeet vest for runners. There's always something.
There's better prizes there than there is at some of the world shoots.
Yes. Yeah.
By quite a way.
Yeah, and that's why I can't understand why nobody else is following, unless it's just our grounds running commercially side of things. I don't know. Well, we had a pole shoot the other day, didn't we? And our runs run a pole shoot at Austin and won £6.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was split 3 ways, I think, and none of the other people were there.
It cost you £7 to enter.
I shot a 21st round, which was the highest score joint.
Yeah.
And then I was like, right, these lads are off back on again. I'll go in again, and then I'll go in again and I'll shoot it again to try and put pressure on or beat the score, or just try and see how they do. So I did that, and there was I remember I hit the Hardy's pair, which was a sim pair, and they had a fast crosser coming out of the skeet tower over on the right. And I don't know, it's probably about 50 metres away, and then it went.
Got a whole lump.
Yeah, and then there was a bank. There's a banking on the pool shoe. So you said pull, it flew, and then it just went straight behind the banking. So you had a window about this big to kill it. It was
Good target.
It was good. It's a good hard target, and then the other bird was a looper that was here, but it was edge on, so you only saw the edge of it, and it was the middle stand. So I remember shouting pull, and I just shouted pull, pulled the trigger. I hit the A bird out the trap, luckily, and then I got the C bird. And then on that round, I should have won because I don't think anyone hit that pair all day just because of that A bird. You couldn't kill it out of any past the trap when it came out because it just went behind the banking. So, and then I dropped all the easy birds in at the hardest one. If I'd have shot one extra bird on there, I would have came away with 18
quid,
which would have just covered. Because I don't know if I shot it twice or 3 times.
Well, it wouldn't have covered your entries, let alone cartridges of fuel.
Exactly. So.
What did your pull shoot pay out on Saturday?
It was 1 on an 11 out of 25, and we paid out £50.
That's right. So you do guaranteed
payout.
Yeah.
Guaranteed payout, and obviously as soon as we've got more established, the infamous barn end, shoot it. If you win it, you've obviously sold your soul to the devil. If you win it
on a straight,
If you've definitely sold your soul to the devil if you win it, but that's the fun of it. So that'll be our pull shoot. It'll stay on the infamous barn end, and when you come down, you'll be addicted to it.
I would like to be completely humiliated. It'd be quite fun.
It's one of the old members, Dave White, who's obviously an old cracking shot. He took the prize money, but we've heard the old guys talk. We don't go round to other shoots now. The pull shoots, we never win all. The prize money's not there, we have heard about. We're new to it, so it's fixed. So I mean, I'm sure
you'll learn all about cheating somewhere along the line.
Yes, it's all. We're absorbing it, and everyone's starting to tell us now about the scene, if you like.
It's a strange old world, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Ron shot a 12 at the barn end, but before the pull shoot started, but he couldn't win his own pull shoot.
No, of course not.
And
although there is a few people out there who occasionally go and win their own shoots, which I always find is fantastic.
Yes.
Very sportsmanlike, as you said earlier.
Same as again the Oxford Gun Company, the Rabbit Mania.
Yeah.
Absolutely fun. Absolutely. I mean,
thoroughly enjoyable, actually.
I've only watched him shoot it. I've not shot it, but Ron, realistically, it could be an addictive.
When I shot
you could waste a lot of money on it.
Yeah, it could be.
When
addictive.
I shot it, I think it was the Game Fair, which Billy Bourne won. And if you look back on the internet, he's been shooting the Oxford Gun Company for years, especially Rabbit Mania.
Those targets never change.
Yeah, they've never changed. And I think I can't remember if it was a 14. I think I shot a 14 or 16 as my. I think it was 14 first time, 16, and it was one on an 18. I can't quite remember how many. But then again, these lads have been shooting it however many years, all over the place, because it gets taken around in a trailer, I believe, at some places. So, fair play to him. But I think if I shot it as much as them, or if anyone,
thing to say. But then go and take out something like skeet, and then everything's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
But skeet interest you at all? So what's let's go before we go further. How was the final? How do you deal with stress? Do you just not find stress or pressure an issue for yourself?
When people say, "Oh, you just look like you don't feel anything," like if you watch the video, like there's a clip of me where I'm just like, I don't even know what I was doing, but I was just stood there, and I was just stood there looking at the floor or whatever, or looking. But I'd shot a lot of. Well, I'm getting off topic here. Right. So stress, not really. I think I shoot better under stress than, because it was just coming down.
Gets you focusing.
You've got all these people watching, and it's even just when you're shooting at a club or whatever, when people like stand and watch you, people feel pressured by it, especially depending on what type of gear they've got, what gun they've got, which I've come to learn. If you've got a nice fancy gun, I've only ever seen. There's only a few people that you would think, oh, they've got a $7,000 gun, $5,000 gun. Yes, they have a reason to shoot it because they're that good. Like my friend Chris Bullock with his Krieghoff and his Caesar Guerini, Dr. Sam.
They probably do just as well with a old brand GTI.
Yeah.
What are you shooting at the minute? You still got the 686E? Or have you moved on?
No, I moved on from. I think I only had that 3 months, and then I moved on to a XS Pro.
Yeah.
Which.
Ultra
XS, yeah. Which was the cheapest one in the country. Basically brand new when we bought it. And there still isn't. there still hasn't been one in as new condition with less than 100 shots for it at the price we bought it for.
Yeah.
There hasn't been one on Gun Trader.
So you've been quite, well, you're from Yorkshire, of course you're quite shrewd with how you spend your money, but yeah.
Well, I was just lucky because my uncle wanted to trade in his 828U, and if it wasn't for my uncle, I wouldn't have put as many rounds through, and my mum as well, my dad, I wouldn't have put as many rounds through as I had just me funding it.
Yeah.
So a lot, but he put his 828U in for the price of the XS, so a lot of that price was taken out.
That was a cheap XS.
Yeah.
That was good go.
Yeah. I think it was, what was it, 2,900 quid?
2,800.
It was just under $3,000.
Yeah.
And
we went till now.
It was 2 months old, I think.
That's right.
With less than 100 shots for it. So it was, I challenge you to look on Gun Trade and find one at that money. But anyway, I dropped on with that. Anyway, back to
that's
the
original question. Yeah. Stress.
I think in my head it plays a factor of, I don't know, it's hard. I don't suffer with it. It doesn't make me like an inferior shot as I was just practicing at a club or whatever. I think it excels me, like, oh, this is how good I am. I want to prove a point to people. So it was just more of a lot of, I mean, Dave Florence says don't look at, a lot of people say don't count birds, don't do this.
It's impossible not to, I find.
It is, so I went in...
If you're missing a lot, it's hard to, but when you're doing well, it's very hard not to go, I'm only 3 away.
So I was counting the birds of everyone, how many they missed. So what I did was, I was cage 2, so I was counting cage 1, and then he dropped more birds than me, so I stopped paying attention to what he was doing because I knew I'd beat him.
Yeah.
And then stage 3, they dropped more birds than me, stopped 5, but 4, little Alfie. Is it? Yeah, it's Alfie. Yeah.
Alfie man. Yeah.
I thought it was Archie then, but it's Alfie. Yeah, it is Alfie.
Yeah, it's Alfie. Yeah.
Anyway, he hadn't dropped a bird on his first.
Do you see that as like a target? Like, I'm gonna have you.
Yeah, I was like, there was a moment when I was like, I'm not letting him win the car. He's like 13 years old. I can't. I need this car.
It could be embarrassing.
But throughout the year, I'd envisioned that I'd won the car. I knew what it'd be like to get it anyway, so I did.
There's a lot of mental prep went into this one way or another.
Not really. It's like I just have a vision in my head that I'd win the car at certain points throughout the year, and then I knew I'd do it. And then another thing that I thought the night before was, I can't lose the car. This many people believed in me that I'm going to win it, like your friend Bob.
Yeah.
He came around. He came around the day after, said, I knew you'd win the car. A lot of people at the club. Chris Bullock rang me up the night before saying, you've got the ability to win the car. There's no doubt you'll. And I was like, if there's this many people thinking I'll do it, there's no way I can mess up.
Yeah.
Which obviously.
You clearly got it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was looking at Alfie and he hadn't dropped a bird. But cage 1, 2 were definitely the hardest ones, just from the what birds you got. And I remember my final cage was 1, and Alfie had then at some point when I got into cage 4, he dropped more birds than I had, so I just stopped thinking about what everyone else did. And then I got to cage 1, and it was 2 right to left crosses sim, and I just thought, if I hit these, I've won. So I hit them. I was like, easy, no one else has hit that, no boys or girls. I think Reese did manage to hit that. He did hit that on his shoot off. And then I walked out and they tried like...
That's what Dave was saying when we were down there, that's the hardest target on the place. Maybe it is.
Well...
If you're saying that everyone else missed it, it must be, yeah.
I think the targets... What made it hard was that it was 2 targets coming from the right.
Similar sort of targets.
Yeah, at the same time.
Confused your eyes.
Yeah.
Coming in.
If you said, I think it was E and D, if you said, I'm going to shoot the bird first, and then E bird came out first, you'd go straight to the E bird.
So there's a bit of, well...
No, it's just how it came out on the button. Yeah. So you find that a lot of times if you go and shoot a sport trap, and you say, let's say you've got D and E again, let's take that for example, and you think, I'll shoot D bird first.
But if there's a slight delay on the trap.
Yeah, but E bird pops up first, it doesn't necessarily get close to you faster. It's like a slower bird, but it comes out first for whatever reason. You've got to be so dedicated to picking one target and staying with it, sort of thing. And I think that's what fooled a lot of people, because it was two targets coming from the same way. They were both similar distances apart, so it's not like shoot the closest one.
But the leads were slightly different, I presume.
Yeah,
there's enough there to mess people up, clearly.
No, that's right. Yeah.
I think Leeds a weird one. I don't think Leeds as much as a thing as you think it is in the sport. I think it's smoothness. That's what I've come to realise, is smoothness and gun speed, because I've shot some pairs where when I think about why I gave it that much lead, and it might have been 45 metres out, and then I've done that on a 30 metre out bird, but it's just the speed of the gun.
Yeah.
So it's another completely thing, but I'll get back to what I was saying.
Yes, sorry.
So I shot that, I walked out the cage, I looked over to my dad, I nodded my head, saying that I've just done it, I knew I'd won. And then they tried like making a big build up to it to try and confuse who'd won the car, but I'd already seen the scorecard. I had 23, and then the next was 20, so I just told everyone the shoot off's a second, not for first, just to...
Because I watched the video and they were like, nobody knows what's this for. I'm like, I bet you knew you won at that point.
Yeah, I just saw that they didn't do a very good job of hiding it, let's say, but then again...
Yeah, it takes away from their disappointment.
Yeah.
Disappointment. Can't be disappointed with being like the second best junior in the country.
No.
Yeah.
So would you count yourself as the best junior in the country? The best young shot in the country? You gotta be. Presumably.
Best young shot, but junior is such a broad term. I think if you look at scores, if you look at James Bradley Day, I don't know him personally, I've never met him, but I've seen his scores.
He didn't shoot the TSC.
He didn't shoot at TSC, I think he was 21, but he's something like double A class.
I was going to say, he's got one on you.
He's 92% hit rate. If you look in the CPSA top shots of the year,
lad as well.
Yeah, he's higher than some very certified shots.
Very good.
Yeah,
elder shooters.
So, and then I think this is his first year into the proper big boys category, if you say. So I think you could say I am the best young shot in the country.
Yeah, well, you were the best 16-year-old in the country at that time, so yeah.
But it depends what you go off. I shot the TSC. Some people might say, well, the targets are not as hard, but when you actually get into it...
You've still got to win it, mate.
When you get
Don't take it away from yourself.
I'm not. And this is what Dave Carey and Chris Bullock said. There were some people saying, oh, what classification? I'm unclassified because... one, I didn't have a proper full membership for CPSA, so I can't get it. I was shooting at an A class level, and if I'd gone into A class, you can't shoot for the car. It's young shots, but if you're A class,
so you can't be.
You can't shoot for it.
That's a hard one, actually, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah.
I think. What if you were that good and wanted to go and win it, and that cuts you out?
Well, it's only if you've got that classification next to your name.
So what, you could cancel your CPSA membership and go win the car?
Or if you...
So what, I suppose I should ask Davis, but why?
I think it's just to give... It's an incentive to get more young shots into it, because if you've got the best young shots, you're not going to go shoot it, are you?
Yeah, we should just bring it down to 18 instead of 21.
Yeah, but I think if you opened up A class, it might open it up more, because then you're getting these big
juniors,
big names.
All half a dozen big juniors there are. I don't think it will change it that much, because at the end of the day, anyone can win at the end.
They're not targets in such a way. If you're A class, you've got an advantage. I don't feel like.
It would be funny when you're shooting what do you say? You've shot 48 a couple of times. Anyone can drop a couple, even the best.
I think 48 was my highest. I shot a few 47s.
It's not bad, mate.
I think you ought to know though. You did have 2 hours with Mark Winter before. Was it the month before you went to?
No, it was a few months before. It's been a while.
Before. Yeah, you had 2 hours with Mark Winter.
So have you had quite a few lessons, or is it just your original ones and the odd little tidbit here and there?
There was the stuff with Lee Campion. I'm not taken away from Lee, but there weren't proper lessons. I think you need to go to someone when you start shooting to learn how to hold the gun properly, lean into it.
So there's a lot of people who just don't listen. And so I'm going to defend the instructors here.
Yes,
that actually, after a point, you're better off teaching them to hit a few and then work back thereafter.
Yes.
Because we get people coming here all the time who just can't hold a gun, who've been from multiple lessons.
A lot of people I shoot with, especially Chris, Dave Carey, if you go shoot with them and they telling you something and it's not working and you say, look, you shoot it, they will go in the cage and shoot it and show you how to hit it.
Yeah.
Because I think if you can learn to stand behind someone, if you look at the end of the barrel and the distance to the clay and then relate that to what you need to do when you're actually in the cage, it's a hard one to learn, but when you can do it...
depends. I think some people just can't see that.
Yeah. If you can learn to do it though, you can. That's the best way to learn. Watch someone else, see the distance from the end of the barrel.
How their muzzle moves on the target as well, which I think I've always found.
When you've got someone just saying double your lead every week, it's not. I'm not taking away from Lee. He did massively help me within, and he did.
There's also different levels of instruction.
There's one thing, he driven targets. He taught me one of the best lessons was wait till it, just cover it with your barrel, pull the trigger, and I think that's always stuck with me. And I think I'm not saying he's a bad instructor, but I think he's someone that if you want to get started...
Him and you didn't perhaps speak the same language though. I think that's the other thing as well.
That's one thing. If you just... you have to go someone, when you start shooting, spend however £50-60 just learning how to shoulder it properly, lean into it, make sure you're not doing any bad mistakes, go to them a few times and then leave it at that.
Actually listen
and
well.
then go out and shoot. And then it was that, and then I had my lessons with Lee, and then I went to Pinewood, and then we met Alan, who was the previous owner, and then he says, go out, shoot, have fun, and then I'll show you what to do. And then I had an hour with him, and he was quite a good coach. He taught me a few methods that worked for me, and that worked. And then Chris Bullock, and then it was when my dad said earlier, when I went with Chris Bullock, and he was just telling me this, and that's where it's just him telling me, he's like, now I can't tell you what to do, I can only tell you this, and then you find it yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is if you can find it yourself, don't always look to other people for the answer, because sometimes they don't know it.
Yes.
You've got to find it yourself.
Well, you'll appreciate as well as I will that there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat when it comes to killing a play target.
Yes.
Because you speak to 50 different people and they'll shoot it totally different, with different gun speed, different swing, and every single person will be breaking it.
Yes.
And there'll always be one who'll say there's only one way to do this.
If you want to shoot the best, you've got to go to the best, and that's why I went to Mark Windsor. Everyone was telling me the only way you can excel now is if you have
being a 95+% shooter.
Yeah. You go to Mark, and I went to Mark, and I first went there, and he's telling me what to do with your foot positions, like put your foot at 1 o'clock, and so wherever your 12 o'clock is your kill point. So put your foot at 1 o'clock to where that kill point is, if that makes sense. And I was like, why are you telling me this? I already know all this. But it was, when it went further on, everything he said makes sense. He understands. If you just hit a clay and you turn around, I don't know how I hit that, it's complete instinct. It'll tell you what you've done, and then you can repeat it, and then you know why you hit it. So when you see that target again, you know what to do for it. And it was worth it. I shot extremely well on that day. It was pouring down with rain, and it just worth it to hear Mark Windsor says, you shoot like me.
Yes,
it made me think that day that I can go in within the sport and become a top.
So that is the plan ongoing, is to become the best, or to go and compete with the best?
I think if you speak to Dave Florent, he will say the best shots in the world shoot the Olympic disciplines, which...
I would say the best shots in the world to shoot fit ass,
the best shooters in the world shoot fit ass. No, there's no two ways about it. Because one of his reasons was, when you go and shoot a world fit ask at E.J. Churchill, it's just English and American shooters. Which makes sense, it's going to be English people because it's more accessible to English people. But if you went and shot World Fit Ask in Germany,
you're
going to be shooting the more surrounding countries there because they can drive to it. And so if you went and shot one in Germany, you're going to go shoot against Germans.
And it's not an English sport, but Fit Ask isn't even an English word.
No.
Acronym.
I would say, because when you go shoot Olympic trap, it's the same 15 targets because there's 5 traps in each.
I mean, I think everyone needs to go and shoot an Olympic discipline at some point.
Yes.
Even if it's not professionally or even if it's from a decent stand, because it'll teach you repeatability.
Yes, 100%.
Which is a huge mental discipline in itself.
I've shot Olympic trap 4 times now.
And then you fell asleep every single time by the end of your
I really enjoyed it because the group of people I shot with, it was very fast paced.
Yeah.
It was pull, bang.
Pull, bang, yeah.
But I've shot a competition of Olympic trap and there was a few GB people on there and they held up the competition for everyone. That one squad held it up. They were squad 3.
Did they win?
Yes.
Hopefully so, yeah.
But that's all they shoot, the GB team. They don't shoot, if you looked at their CPSA, it's just
trap.
There's no other scorings down for.
It shows because the scores are good, and when they shoot, they're very, very, very precise, if that's the word.
Yeah.
And to get the precision, they take the time. And I think that's what you found out.
Yeah.
Whereas sporting, at least, you do get through them pretty quick.
Well,
there's a good bit of shooting as well.
Yeah, in sporting, you don't have to start at stand 1 if someone's holding it up. You go start on stand 3, or you're always doing something. But I would say the best shooters in the world shoot your sporting disciplines. And a lot of people say they don't shoot Olympic disciplines because they can't shoot them.
It's probably because they don't want to.
They don't want to because it's so... I think
it's a different world. I think that's as simple as that. It's just a different world.
I think that you ought to do what you committed to.
I want to be the best, one of the best shooters in the world, and recognised with that. And it'll take a long time. So I'm shooting Olympic trap and fit ask and sporting or whatever because I'm going to win a major fit ask multiple times and I'm going to win an Olympic gold medal. And that's the dream. If I can do that, because I only have to win the Olympic gold medal once and that's it, I can say I'm an Olympic gold medalist, which is quite, no matter what Olympic...
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. But to me, the best shots, an Olympic gold medalist in shooting is not as good as that Bulgarian shooter who's number 1 in FITASC leaderboard by however many 100 points he is in front of everyone else.
Well, one presumes, however, that they're all the best in their own game, right?
Yes. And
there's nothing wrong with being the best at what you do. Although I'd rather be the best at FITASC because for me and where I'm from, that's exactly. That's a big deal. Well, it's a big deal.
I see it as when you go to a FITASC or sporting, you don't know what the targets are going to be. So having the ability to shooting 100 straight in sporting compared to 100 straight in Olympic trap is a lot harder to do in sporting.
There's a lot of people out there who've shot 100, 300s.
In detail,
many people
trap,
who've straightened a decent sporting layout.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
Right. It's valid. It's as valid as any. But you've won a competition which not many people have.
Yeah.
A big competition as well.
And I think if you can keep focused, do the Olympic OT as well, and do the OT and get to the Olympics, even if you have to be your own entry.
Yeah,
if you don't make the GB team, there's no stopping you entering it if your scores are there.
Because there was that Saudi Arabian guy when double trap was a thing, and he went in as an independent athlete and won gold medal. Don't know his name.
There's
but that's always an option.
I don't think it's a bad option because it's quite a tight knit group. Olympic trap, as you'll be well aware.
We're quite lucky because we've got that's got to be one of the best. Beverley's got to be one of the best grounds.
Trap ground.
Yeah.
It's got to be in the country. It's got to be Joe Wheater's ground. We're all
Beverley
or Joe Wheater's ground.
Oh yeah.
And so I've looked at the construction of it, and say it was built a long time ago. Even down the steps into the traps, into the perches where all the traps are. It's a perfectly built stand, all undercover, windows in it. And great place to go. He started to go now Sunday, just straight over Humber Bridge.
40 minutes away.
40 minutes, and at the moment we're buying his clays off of Rob Hall, who owns
the ground.
Who's got the ground. So I know his daughter's, she's on GB team, isn't she? I can't remember.
I don't know, but she went and won a gold medal in Malta. Is it
Malaga?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago. So we're quite lucky for that. He can go and train there, and
it should be a fair into the team if you want it to be.
Yeah. Well, the GB team do shoot it. It's on their. Yeah. It's on the selection shoot circuit, I think. So,
I suppose the thing is, at the level you're at, how much do you reckon you've invested to get to where you are?
I suppose I can answer this really.
Yeah.
Basically,
well, I shot the cheapest cartridges on the market for months.
What do you shoot now?
Well,
you're on Pro 1s at the moment.
Yeah. Up until the car, I was just shooting Pro 1s. It was white gold before that, but I saw the specs of a Pro 1. It was claiming 1500 feet per second. Whether or not it's true or what, it was 1500 feet per second, and I think a white gold's 1425. So I was like, I'll try them out.
1450, I think.
At 40, it's somewhere between there. And my friend Chris Bullock reloads cartridges, and he was always picking up Pro 1 cases. So I was like, I'll try these out, and then if he wants the cases, he can reload them. And it was just as smooth as a white gold, and in my head it was faster. Whether or not it is faster, whether or not it's,
there's a lot in there, right?
Yeah. And so I was like, I'll stick with these. And there has been a few instances in my head where I've done something wrong, and then like at Oxford Gun Company there was a quartering away bird, and I pulled the trigger, and I don't know what it was, but I pulled the trigger above the target, and I was on bottom barrel, and then everything stopped in my head for like a second, and I realised what I was doing. I pulled down, and the shot just went and instantly hit the clay, smack bang in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's happened a few times. I don't know if it's, and I've always thought it's the cartridge. Whether or not it is, I don't know, I can't tell you. But I believe in that cartridge, but I haven't really shot Pro 1s that much recently. I've just been shooting whatever we've got at the club, which is RC2s and Jockers. And I think you could get Pro 1, I would say, is my number one cartridge at the minute. But the Jocker, which comes in a plastic bag, I don't know if you've seen them, is identical to a white gold. And some people have been claiming that when they put that down a chrono, it's doing like, I think we've heard someone say, I think Alan said he got 1600 FPS out of one. Whether or not it's true.
Well, it depends also whether it's a V1 or V2 velocity, which is the strange thing. So why American cartridges always, they're like, oh yeah, we get 1200 feet per second, that's really slow. So they take, every cartridge manufacturer measures their velocity slightly differently.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I would
ours is muzzle velocity.
Say that most of them are liars.
Yeah.
In some regard.
Yeah. But you could take Hull Sporting 100s now. You could give me one of them or a Hull Superfast and a Jocker, and I'd take a Jocker over them.
Yeah.
I'd probably take a Jocker over a black gold. I know Chris Bullock, he shoots with Mark Winter sometimes when Dave Carey goes shooting, and they've been on the same squads, and Chris has beat Mark and Dave in a competition, and Mark actually had a look at what chokes he was using in cartridges because he couldn't believe he couldn't believe that he'd been beaten by Chris.
Got those scores and those breaks.
Yeah.
That's price wise, we started out on Super Steel game boards. I looked at a cartridge which was realistically affordable to put at, because we needed to get rounds through the gun. To get him up to a decent level, to get 1,000 rounds through, let's say every 2 weeks, the only cartridge we could realistically afford was the Game Boy Super Steel 24 gram.
Not a bad cartridge.
Brilliant
at all.
And on the eye tower
at Nettleton Lodge.
No, not Nettleton, and so it's 120 foot at Park Lodge, is it?
That's right, isn't it?
Right.
I think
his Uncle Jeff.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
His Uncle Jeff was smacking that straight out at trap with a 24 gram
Super Steel.
Yeah, and then we got top. Then we realised that we weren't allowed to shoot steels there. So, but when I saw it hit that clay, I thought, this is going to be a good little cartridge, and Ron excelled with that. Then we bought the 24 gram white gold steels, which were only £160 a thousand.
Very good cartridge for the money.
And we went to Nettleton, and you were hitting that eye tower there, that big.
I won the Nettleton
44 metres, isn't it? 44 metres out.
Yeah.
So I had rangefinder on it, and that little 24 gram clay cartridge, that cartridge was busting that clay like a 28 gram. And even Chris went, oh, 24 gram steels then, oh, you keep using them, they're brilliant cartridges for what I've seen. So, and that's how we got, so realistically, in the year, if you would do all the maths, some months we'd do 1,000, for 3 months we'd probably do 1,000
shells,
game bore steels, 152 or 160 pound a thousand. We got some super fast, which we bought cheap, really cheap.
We got some super fast. Was it £42 a slab?
£43 a slab.
It's alright, isn't it?
Well, I had to buy 2,000 off somebody who overbought some. So that took you up to, from March, if you went on £1,000 cartridges you did sometimes every 2 weeks, sometimes it were a month, depending on what you were doing at school. So if you work that out from March till winning the car, that's how much it cost. Fuel wise, not that far really. Car, £60.
Yeah.
Gun wise, he's been helped out because his uncle had the 80 to 80 and give him that.
Let's say that didn't exist. That was 2,800 quid.
Yeah.
Probably another 2,800 quid worth of ammo.
Yeah.
You'll take £6,000 plus some entry fees.
Entry fees, and you shot it no more than.
We did it. Me and my mum were doing my dad's receipts last night, and all the receipts were there for the Oxford Gun Company. And I think it were only maybe £400 because it's the TSC.
Entries aren't expensive at TSC, are they?
No, they're very reasonable. Very reasonable.
They are for a 50 bird, but for what it is, for the price that you're going for, it's not. It's £25 for 50 clays, which.
That's a cheap way to win a car, though.
Yeah.
So,
given you think you go to a big registered competition, they'll be charging like 50 quid for 100 clays to win 200 quid or something.
So. And then you shoot that on average 3 times, just 2 were your main competitive ones, and then the third time you've driven 3 hours, so why not?
Yeah, so you're in for, let's say, £1,000 in total in clays for the TSC.
Yeah, that's what
from winning the car, all the shooting throughout the year was just broke even, so it was free basically shooting.
But you get to shoot.
And
you still have the car?
Still have the car, yeah.
Driving it around?
Yes, I'm insured on it for provisional. Haven't driven it in a while, just haven't had a chance to.
Yeah.
So
we was going to come in it today, but I thought with weather being bad,
pretty nasty weather. Best coming sort of big heavy lump.
Yeah, so we've come in other car, but we do drive it. We do go everywhere. We make sure that we do what the contract says. We do go places, take photos, and we do go to when we go to gun grounds. And I mean, it'd be nice to have a photo, but we didn't. We thought we'd just come in big car today because the weather's been nasty and floods and
we were driving back in the truck after the shooting show, and even in the truck it wasn't great.
No, and I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have bought an MG car. I wouldn't have even looked at one. Would I say buy one? Why buy a Fiesta when you can get one of those?
Yeah.
Cracking value for money. Drives absolutely spot on. Quite intrigued looking at the big MG car, to be fair. I don't know what it's called, the bigger one.
They're little 4x4 affair.
Yeah, they're like a crossover type car, aren't they? But cracking car, absolutely cracking. So it does go to places and it does get recognised.
It's all shine written up anyway, isn't it? So,
yeah. And you'll be leaving them on. You'll be driving it and think, well, that'll end up being Pinewood club car sort of thing, I think.
Yeah.
The advertisements will get left on it. We'll not take them off after the year. We'll leave it on. We'll just probably add to it.
Yeah, why not?
And
probably. That would be funny, right? You wouldn't sell a trophy, would you? And that is the trophy in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be quite cool one day in 20 odd years' time to show it to your kids and go, I won that. It's a bit of a heat now.
Yeah.
I went to Whitby to look at a job in Whitby, and I parked on the main, and somebody recognised it. You know,
nice.
Oh yeah, that's the TSC.
You said you overaged really badly.
Yeah. I said, yeah, I've just turned 17, but I've gone grey with stress. And I went grey watching him, to be fair. It's worse for me. It was worse for me watching.
Was stress for you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I suppose there's nothing you could do about him winning.
No.
Everything you've done would stop.
I can't go behind him and say, the only thing I did say to him before he went out, just before you went through the rope, I says, make sure when you hit your first clay, you use your second barrel on the little bit and hit that as well, and that'll put pressure on.
That'll piss everybody off.
And that's what he did.
Well, I was going to do it anyway because I've not shot many CPSA competitions. It's probably no more than 10, and quite a few of them have been sport trap, and a lot
and where you're not registered. It's
and practice. It's like the barn end is a sport trap compact anyway.
Is your ground going to go registered in the end?
We see what CPSA because we're new to it and we don't know. We can only tell you what people are telling us. Don't get the ground CPSA registered. Don't let them, because they don't do anything for your club, if you like. I don't know, because we've not spoken to anybody. We was going to speak to somebody at the show, but
you can scare a few people off by doing it as much.
We're quite lucky because we've got enough to keep. There's enough ground to keep. We could have a CPSA and it wouldn't even interfere with the ground.
Oh wow, it's a big old place then.
We've got another layout at the back which has just been left with skeet towers. It's got a ABT standing there with cover on it, and it's just been left. It's just been used for Avagos really. It just wants mowing, banking sorting out. So the idea is we'll hold the competitions round the back, and then all the locals, when they come, they're on plug and play.
As it normally is.
Keep them happy. So we will have a discussion about CPSA, but at the moment we're just going to put a few of his own competitions on. Well, we've had the Dave Carey one, which we had to cancel, but that'll be happening again, and we'll end up putting some. I think we'll end up putting some tasty prize money on. I know there's people say don't do it, but there's everybody else doing it. It's £100 and £150, and
you can't win back your fuel and cartridges.
And we've looked at Clay magazine, guaranteed 150, 200 clay grounds.
It's all right if you live 10 minutes away.
Well, is it?
Yeah, if you've got a grand there, it's only worth winning.
Yeah, and I would say that we're definitely going to have a big prize on the infamous barn end, because if you straight that. You can just leave it sat in a glass case, can't you? So you can earn all that cash if you like, if you go and win that. Yeah, and I think we'll do our own little competitions just to fetch people in, but we will have a good prize on. I think listening to the old guys who used to shoot from 70s and 80s, or really still good top shots, they moan because you can't go and win anything decent anymore.
Well, I mean, the trade's changed a lot, and I don't think the gun trade wants to put the money out there as much as they did, because it's not there to play with. But I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Of no prizes, no money, no shooters.
No, that's right.
Because if you're an ultra competitive guy, you don't really want to be in a sport where you're going to win a tenner. No, you've got to fly to America to win it.
No, but if they can just fly down to Gainsborough at Blyton, it's near A1. It's near M1.
It's not too bad at all.
It's not too bad at all, and it's got a cheap hotel in the middle, isn't it? Travel lodge,
very
cheap
nice.
as chips. So for £1,000, if we put some decent prize money up and get some top shot. What I don't want to do, I don't want to leave the youngsters out.
Yeah.
And because that's what we want to encourage. So whatever we put on for the top shots, we'll put on for the
really
and we want.
Except you can't win now.
No, I don't think we'll get a car though. I don't think we'll get up to it. It'd be nice.
Not yet.
It'd be nice.
Not yet.
Maybe if David might be able to wing some, and we might be able to do more of a twinned thing.
Why not?
And use their experience. I don't know. But
the more people doing it, mate, the better for the future.
Yeah, of course it
100%.
is. Of course it is. And better for gun training all round, isn't it? We're definitely putting in shopping anyway.
That'd be good, mate.
Definitely putting in shopping. So we'll probably be on phone getting some advice. Luckily,
you will be growing a couple of years with that.
Yeah. And so really, money wise, I think you can get set up and get busting clays
Well, to go from 0 to winning a big prize in a decent competition in a year for $9,000, that's not. I mean, it's quite a lot of money, and that's quite a prohibitive amount of money from a lot of people. Yeah. But if you spread that, let's say, over like a couple of years, that's not too bad.
No.
Depending on what you want, there's a lot. If you want to go and win a prize in a country in any other sport, it's probably going to cost you the same, if not a little bit more.
Yeah.
Unless you're unnaturally talented at something like football.
Well, we all like a bit of football, but you were quite good at football.
Yeah.
I was alright.
Right. That's about
You're very blessed to have a dad like that.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, my dad, he didn't really push us, really. I mean, there were 6 of us, so...
Do you think he's pushed you to do it?
Yeah, definitely.
Or would we lean more towards the word encourage?
It's all the same, isn't it? Been closer.
I don't want to go shoot any more clays.
I remember I made him shoot. I think it was when we thought, right, we've got to get some practice in, and it was like the rain we've had with the floods, and it was on the Clumbo, and I remember it was that bad. Water were coming through barrel and coming out at action. And I says, if you do me 10 pairs and rain was sideways, hitting you in the face hard, no umbrella, soaking wet through,
you could do anything.
I said, and it was on at Park Lodge on then at the
Park Lodge had. It was like a big teal trap, but it sent off 2 going away.
Yeah.
And they didn't change it from a competition, so it was wound up all the way to the max. So it was 2 going away pairs. They hit like 25 metres in like 3 seconds or something crazy. Wow. So by the time you'd shot the first one that went straight, one was arcing.
You're praying on pattern on the second.
Yeah, it was just arcing into a bank. So I had to hit 10 pairs of them so we could go out basically. And it was like chucking it down.
Mate, no wonder you weren't phased at the TSC final when you've been out in shit with it. Getting hit with a bat from behind your old man says, hit the damn clay, hit the damn clay.
As soon as we can do it, we can go home. But apart from that one time, we've had a couple.
You've been really kind to it, yeah.
I just thought, do you know what? If I don't lay off, because it got to a point where I can't shoot as well as him. And so my advice, realistically, I had to rein myself in and thinking, why am I trying to give him advice now? Because it's just...
But all you can do is give him encouragement.
All I can do is
stand him in the rain till he's sick.
And that's what I did, and I did. Yeah. I praised him, and as soon as I started praising him more, it went up tenfold. So yeah, I haven't pushed him, but I've encouraged him, and we've had a few incidents where...
the experience of life has... overcome the insolence of youth.
Yeah, frustration really, especially when he swapped guns.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he swapped guns, it took 3,000 shells to get on target with that Browning.
Yeah.
Because that Beretta was so easy, just point and shoot.
Why did you change it?
Yeah, good question.
Because
it's pretty.
We were looking at a 6.92.
Yeah.
As I told you at the gun show, friend of 6.92, second barrel snapped in half.
Yeah.
And it was between that because I was shooting with a lot of people who had high-end competition guns. I needed a gun with more weight in it, for starters. I wanted 32-inch barrels. Don't ask me why. It was for the swing on longer targets. I think 32-inch barrels was for the barn end, really. Because
I want it for this one shoot that I can't ever actually hit properly at.
It was that, and I soon realised after just shooting the barn end anyway, you could go and shoot. Let's say you were that good to shoot 100 straight on it. You put that many rounds through so you could shoot 100 straight on it, and you went and shot CPSA registered. You'd probably shoot a 50 out of 100 because that's how you'd be so far in front of everything.
Personally, I feel like there's so much more pleasure in shooting unhittable targets than there is going and shooting an easy course. I shoot with a consultant. It doesn't make you a good shot. It just makes you mad.
I shoot with a Dr. Singal, who's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he won't shoot easy targets. He's that fascinated with hard targets. Yeah. He won't shoot anything else but hard targets. If you see him, and he's got to because I'm shooting Essex Masters with him, and he's going to have to start shooting.
Chilling out.
Yeah. But he's that fascinated with hard targets. He'd go, he could probably put, I don't know, 2,000 rounds through if he had the time to do it on the barn end in a day. He's that fascinated with it.
I mean, I must admit, I've been in that boat with our David, who we went up to Barbary and we did a slab in about half an hour on the high tower because it's not unhittable. We were hitting it, but it's just fun to miss. Yeah. I'd rather miss that than shoot the round.
It's just the satisfaction of hitting it, though, isn't it?
Yeah, when you do it, you go, yep, that was all me, no luck whatsoever.
I think other thing you've learnt is, which is the sportsmanship. He went through that phase of, and you did it at the Oxford Gun Company, coming out the stand, kicking floor and. But
I mean, if you watch the video back, you can see there's a lot of very upset people there,
and
very begrudging handshakes.
But and the thing about it is, then we shoot with a really good crew, and it was Graham Baines.
So I shoot with a group. Tim Wade, Graham Baines, Steve Bullis, Mark Jessup, and Anne-Marie Bullis, which is Steve Bullis' wife. And anyway, we shot at Austin, and I didn't realise, but Graham Baines had just rolled up a fag before getting in the stand, and it's a pair of rabbits. He likes it, it's his turn to shoot. He stood, it's 5 pairs, and he just stood in the cage with the cigarette in his mouth, and he hits every single one, and he turns around and just goes, I should shoot with a cigarette in my mouth more often because I hit everything. And no one realised he had a cigarette in. And then everyone in the group can't understand why. If he shot 1 out of 10, he doesn't get angry. He always thanks the trapper, always thanks the scorer. And it was just a sight to see someone.
One of those moments where you go, yeah, I should be more like that.
Yeah, so exactly. It was from that point onwards when I realised if I just be like that, it doesn't matter.
Being a gentleman's free, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I said if you can be a bit more like Graham, and it doesn't faze him if he don't miss because he's a good shot, a very good shot. If he don't miss, he's like still got a smile on his face, and I think you've learned that off of Graham, definitely. No stamping floor. No, I could have done better. Just grateful that you've shot, and unfortunately that's what's happened.
And we all have our days when you really do get angry because nothing's coming together. Last question, mate. What is your dream gun?
My dream gun, at the minute, I don't have one. I think it would all come down to
specification, I presume.
Yeah, getting all the top guns, so DT, Pratzi, Krieghoff, Blasser, and just picking whichever one feels the best, and just taking that. I do think I do like the look of the engraved Krieghoffs, but I think the standard one's just too boring. I've seen so many of them. They're so popular in the clay circuit up near us. Everyone's got a brass scroll Krieghoff K80, and that's about it. So it just depends whatever feels the best. But I think the closest one to the Browning for easiness of the lock-up is the Krieghoff.
Yeah.
Because you can just, even if it's not all the way, you can just give it a little click. You don't have to push the handle all the way over. It's quite similar to the Browning from the ones I've used.
Would you go back to Beretta?
Yeah, I'd go back to a DT11. I'm interested in what Longthorn are bringing out with the
English Krieghoff.
Yeah, I just like the ability of hitting the barrels and it not really.
A gun that you can abuse,
and
that you can take to the factory anytime you want. There's got to be some mileage in that, right?
Yeah.
I suppose the answer is win some things and see who talks to you, right?
Yeah.
This is where it's going to lead you this year, isn't it? Realistically.
So that's the thing between you being an all-right adult shot and being the best is going to be sponsorship, which I think is a lot harder to get in this sport than any other, certainly. But no, I wish you for the best for this year, and more importantly, a new shooting ground. I mean, that's a hell of an adventure right there.
Yeah, definitely.
That's going to be amazing.
Definitely.
Very, very jealous of that. Wish there was more opportunities for that kind of thing around here, but.
Well, we will be promoting TGS at the ground anyway.
Oh, we're going to come up and have a little shoot. Just you let us know when, preferably when it's.
It won't be a little shoot. It'll be a mammoth shoot.
You need to let him win a medal finally.
Can we have like a little medal there and be like a medal for participation? I'm not of the generation that got medals for participation.
we will.
So. He's been going around beating everyone.
I'll beat Dave Florin.
There's a few more people on
I'll beat a few more people than that, but I ain't no good.
Have you been beaten?
I've been beaten by a lot of people, mate, Just never on camera.
it'll be more than a little trophy. It'll be more than we'll have
I want to
nice
shoot barn
t-shirts.
end.
The infamous barn
brilliant.
end. That'll be it. The infamous barn end. And I think you'll do all right. If you start at 9 in the morning,
everyone should be able to hit 5, and that's number 1 every time. But no one hits. Even the people who just only go to Blighton to shoot that don't hit number 1 every time. And the reason, because it's not hard, they go too far in front of it. Because everything else you need that much lead for, or
you will do all right on it, because we'll make sure. Well,
we wind the traps down a bit. We have the disabled kids coming.
We'll have Chris Bullock there, and he will get behind you, and he will just say, awesome. Pull your gun down, get in front, and that'll be it. And then hopefully, well, you'll be getting the t-shirt. I've shot the infamous barn end.
I look forward to it, mate. It's going to be brilliant. What times do you guys open? Have interest?
At the moment we're open Wednesday to Saturday, but we're going to extend them times over the next couple of weeks. Obviously
it can't be Sunday though.
We can't shoot Sundays. But we are going to be opening Mondays, which will be invitation, which is like that on the website now, invitation only. Tuesdays we're opening up, so Monday will be a good day, because we could have the full ground there for you to come up.
That'll be good fun.
We're just on with getting clubhouse back up and running properly, and sorting toilet block out. We need some nice toilets, which I think is the most for lady shooters and men shooters.
Well, to be fair, mate, no one likes going to a dirty toilet.
No, and a cold toilet, and we're ground's tidying up nicely. So,
I really look forward to seeing it.
Very good. We're quite excited that you're coming down. Definitely.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. You're a proper gentleman.
Thank you, Johnny.
And I look forward to you kicking my ass when we come up north.
Yeah.
It'll be mildly embarrassing, but
you might surprise yourself.
I doubt it very much. I have to bring like a disadvantage gun. Like, I'm shooting this with a 410, guys.
Will you be fetching your TGS gun?
I'll bring it up.
Bring it up.
But if I'm going to come and not be completely embarrassed, I'll bring my route.
No. Yeah, but fetch your TGS gun as well, because we can get a good tryout then, can't we?
Yeah.
I'd like to see what you think of it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what you think of it.
Yeah, because
I was interested. I thought it was good at the show. I think the improvements you made over the normal trap
are good.
Good, yeah.
Oh, good. But, well, time will tell, see if you actually hit anything with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Right.
Thank
Take care.
Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you.
Well, the end. Let's go.